cool.
They should have sent the poet. The poet. They should have sent the poet. The poet.
Sending poets.
This is Sending Poets, a podcast named after the movie Contact, when Jodie Foster says they should have sent a poet after traveling through the wormhole. My name is John, with me is Bob, and today's part 3 on Pumpkinheads, Bob's screenplay idea that he came up with many years ago. We've been talking about for a couple episodes so far. So, Bob,
I gotta first say, I realized just now after the intro, I'm walking with a water bottle, like a plastic water bottle, not like a Techno Viking water bottle.
Sorry, the app crashed. Okay, so you're, it's gonna be like, I'm pretty sure the next time we do something, we're gonna be not using this app. I don't know, but anyway, so you said walking with a water bottle.
Feel free to edit that whole thing out. I was trying to do a Techno Viking joke. I'm calling back
excellent.
for the repeat listeners, because I literally do have Montana's Treasure water bottle in my hand.
Excellent.
Did not as the song came on, the intro, obviously.
Did you drink with, like, in your mind, like the Techno Viking when he drinks the water right before the?
I can visualize the hand coming. The guy comes in with the bottle, puts it right in front of his face, right in his
upside
line
down.
of sight, dude, upside down, and he takes it, and then that's it, dude. That's the fucking drop, man. And once he gets that, he lets that guy live. You know, that guy who fucking he lets that guy live and gets his goddamn groove on, man. And I'm just saying, like, that's a moment to be alive, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Here. I don't have a plastic water bottle, but I have a metal water bottle. So
that's what I'm saying.
I'll drink to that.
It wasn't the nice metal one. I literally have. I usually don't drink out of a regular water bottle. I just laughed at myself that I'm walking right now, obviously, and Techno Viking music comes on, and I just feel it. Okay, sorry. Cut all that out, obviously. Cut all that out.
No, I'm going to keep it. I love it. No, it's part of our lore, dude. Like, I love it.
Well, you don't know how bad it felt when your app cut out right as I tried to lead with that joke, and it just crushed my soul just a little bit, because there's dead silence, dude.
I know.
Fucking
I bet.
Crickets would have been like echoing. There was not a sound. I was like,
I thought that was pretty good. Are you there?
Yes. I didn't know. I didn't know you'd crash, so I thought you were just like not entertained. I was like, oh shit.
No. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping that in there, and I don't know. It's, last episode it was pretty rough with it crashing, and this is like the second. Nah, it's all good. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with the app, so. But it's fine, because I did, real quick before we jump in, we had like a Friendsgiving kind of thing yesterday with some,
nice.
And anyway, so I mentioned, I mentioned you in our conversations, and we kind of have this podcast, idea, and I said that, we're going to be talking about Contact, and that'll probably be we're kind of thinking maybe that'll be an actual RSS feed, something people can look for on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So I feel like the groundwork is laid, dude.
That's a very good point, because if I ever refer, not that I've done, if I ever refer to, I've done it a couple times on Twitter.
Crashed again, but yeah.
Shite. Anyway, what I was trying to agree with you that I have a hard time getting anybody to give us a listen because you would have to
download an app.
Correct. You have to download an entire app and log in and have an account. It's like just I can't do it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do that for me. I don't expect them to. That's way above and beyond.
No, same. Even my wife is like, nah.
Yeah, Stacy gave us I think 1 or 2 listens, and it's just hard. It's really hard to get someone off their Apple Apple Podcasts. That's what I listen to. A lot of my stuff is my Apple Podcast. So it's that and Audible. It's my 2 things I go to. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's see how far we get. There's two more pieces. There's key events and the narrative, and I am super excited about these key events. I think I'm going to read through all these bullet points first.
Yeah, this has a lot of meat. The last episode was theory. This is like actual stuff, I think.
Yeah, and I know that there's a really interesting piece about this wasp knife we kind of teased last time. So
that's right.
So I'm going to read through these bullet points, and then we'll just kind of, go back over them and stuff. So, yeah, again, key events, outline of key events in this story. So there's like this picture of normalcy. Family goes out on a boat, like day fishing trip. The party, it's like a barbecue at home that evening. It's 4th of July. Everyone's expecting fireworks, but this crazy looking meteor shower streaks across the sky instead. First signs of trouble begin at the party. First time all hell breaks loose and a main character is lost. The dad, again, like really like it's like emotionally investing by having it start that way with the the dad, like the hero, he's the first to go, like holy shit, right?
Go back to Game of Thrones with what's his name?
Ned Stark. Yes,
dude, it's so brutal. Yeah.
Yep. Right. Okay, remaining main characters must regroup and weather the storm. The second wave of hell splinters the groups and grandma is lost. Remaining main characters come to grips with events, taking stock, getting strong now. We will survive mentally. We will survive mentality. Sorry. And then here's the last bullet point: discovery of Excalibur. The older brother finds the wasp knife in the dad's stuff, and so I think let me read what you wrote about the wasp knife here. It says, as divers, I don't know if did you pull this out of something, but it says, as divers, we all know what the effects of compressed gas are underwater. Our training teaches us that our lungs would burst from overinflation if we held our breath and rose to the surface. This principle is key to the effectiveness of the wasp injection system. This is a real thing. So this weapon injects a freezing cold ball of compressed gas, approximately the size of a basketball at 800 psi, nearly instantly. The effect of this injection will drop many of the world's largest land predators. The effects of the compressed gas not only cause overinflation during ascent when used underwater, but also freezes all tissues and organs surrounding the point of injection on land or at sea.
Yeah, this thing's badass. Are you still there?
I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. There you go. No
when used underwater, the injected gas carries the predator to the surface before blood is released into the water, thus giving the diver added protection by diverting other potential predators to the surface. So yeah, talk me through some of that, because I think you had a story about learning about this wasp knife thing.
So
in the first place,
so I
right?
So I think the theory is when we talk about I don't know, did you ever watch the A-Team? Remember that show, the A-Team?
Definitely a member of it. Yeah. We use that theme music at Wells Fargo actually, as our team morale booster. I had it at the ready to play for calls and stuff. But yeah.
So the A-Team, what happens is they get into some trouble, right? They go to save the day or they get into some trouble, and then all hell breaks loose, and then they have to find little things around them. And then they montage getting strong now. They would armor plate a vehicle, they would put booby traps in, they would take a garage and turn it into a rocket launcher or something. Anyway, they would have this time of resource hunting and figuring out what do we do with all this stuff. Okay, it was always my favorite part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea is you've had this, two waves of attack by these creatures that you don't really know what they are just yet. You're kind of learning, you're kind of feeling them out. And you're like, what do we do? What do we do? And so you would assess, like take an inventory. So I can imagine him going into the garage of his dad. So his dad is a crab fisherman on the Bering Sea.
Right.
And one of the things he would have would be like lots of these ropes, like these coils of rope that will become instrumental later on in the final scene of how you take care of all these creatures in one fell swoop. And it's going to be a dramatic thing, but these like shots of rope, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet, because you drop pots like 600 feet to the ocean floor, and then you tie buoys on them, so you have like tons and tons of rope. You would have other kinds of gear, but you have to realize the kids are figuring out, or the survivors at this point are figuring out, you can't dispatch these creatures like you would a zombie. If you took a baseball bat and smashed this thing in the head, its head exploding is going to get you.
Mm.
And so obviously you could have a gun and shoot them at distance or something like that. But the point is, you can't really battle these creatures the same way you would battle, the cliche zombies, by just smashing them in the head or cutting their heads off or whatever. Because their thing is, their head is going to like explode, and all the stuff coming out is going to infect anybody within a blast radius.
Yeah.
So this device, and by the way, I saw this as a kid. This was deep in my subconscious. I can't remember how I came up with this thing, because it is a real thing, and I didn't research it for the thing. I kind of inserted it into the idea from the fact that I knew this thing existed. It was so fucking cool back in the day.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about the tech real quick. Okay, so imagine you have like a compressed air cylinder. I'm talking like those little cylinders of compressed air. You put it like a BB gun or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Or CO2 even. It doesn't have to be, not air, but it's like a compressed CO2 cartridge or something like that. And what happens is they're tiny little cartridges that are under a lot of pressure. And you would slip that into the handle of this knife, and then like I don't know if you had one of those Rambo knives as a kid that had a hollow handle and you could unscrew the end or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Had like a little fishing kit in there and shit like that. But this knife, you have a little space in the handle where you insert these CO2 cartridges. You close the little handle up, and now it's primed. And if you stab something and press the trigger, it will unleash all that gas all at once. And what happens is the expansion, it acts like a refrigerant. So it takes, energy to expand this CO2 into a giant ball. And anyway, it forms not just the knife wound, but out of the tip of the knife, this entire blast of CO2 expands immediately and freezes any of the tissue. I mean, it itself is not, it's not liquid in there. It turns into a gas, but the fact that this compression happens immediately, it's like freeze. It's like a refrigerant. It's like if you took your can of spray that you use to keep your keyboard clean.
Yeah.
If you kick on that and you spray and spray and spray, it gets colder and colder and colder. Well,
right.
Imagine all that just bam,
Instant.
just like that.
Yeah.
Instant. Yeah, exactly. And so it's the size of a basketball. Okay, so if you stick a shark or a bear or a fucking elephant seal with this or whatever, and you push the trigger, and the knife blade is probably 8-9 inches long, so that 8-9 inches into your chest cavity, and then an instantaneous basketball size chunk of your chest freezes. It's just death. It's just immediate death. And so it also, if you're underwater, by the way, if you do this to a shark, that expansion creates, lower density in that area. It creates a larger displacement. And so you become more buoyant. So you would literally stab this into a shark or something, pop them with the trigger, and the ball of gas that fills their body cavity would create buoyancy and float them up to the surface for you. Anyways, crazy shit. But imagine if you have it's the gnarliest weapon of all time, by the way. Imagine, and their demo, I don't know if you still have this on the video, but the demo on their website was with a watermelon. So you put this thing into a watermelon and you pull the trigger on it, it explodes, but it explodes in frozen pieces. So it's like the thing blows up, but the watermelon's like flash frozen.
Wow.
So here's the concept. You're dealing with a new attack. Nobody's ever dealt with this. We don't have weapons that defend you from spray attack and like, you know, bomb damage or whatever you want to call this thing, proximity damage. This one weapon, if you stick it into the zombie's head or the pumpkin head's head and you pull the trigger, its head's going to blow up, but it's not going to infect you because you've flash frozen all the contents.
Yeah.
So it's like an Excalibur in that it's literally magically conditioned to attack these creatures. It's like the special weapon, right? It's like the magic weapon you need for the hero to become a badass.
Yeah.
Once he has this thing, you know, his dad's got tons of cartridges, boxes of cartridges, these little CO2 things. So you get one shot per thing, and then you got to reload this handle, and you know, you got to put another cartridge in. So there's like a little bit of drama there. It's not too overpowered, is what I'm saying. You get a mob of pumpkin heads, you're not going to be able to kill them. Flip side will be also that dad, as a fisherman, will have, Bering Sea fisherman, will have these safety suits. Have you ever watched Deadliest Catch? I can't remember if I've asked you this.
No, I mean, I know of it, but yeah, I may have seen like little bits and pieces, but mostly no.
Bering Sea in the wintertime is just literally the worst case scenario for environmental stress to the human body. But they have these safety suits. So if your ship is going down, a life jacket ain't going to save you. You're going to freeze to death in a matter of minutes. So they have to wear these safety suits that are like a dry suit. So it's not like a wetsuit where the water gets in. It's a complete dry suit. And they're like bright orange, and they have flotation of capabilities, and they have like a beacon on there. So if you fall overboard, they can find you and shit like that. So the kid will have access to this, and that suit will be the other kind of armor to the knight's, you know, Excalibur. So what the two things you can't do is either smash the head and allow the fluid stuff to get out, or protect your body. You can protect your body and then you can smash away. So this is going to be like the thing at the end where the kid becomes the bait, but he's going to, you know, be protected by this suit for a limited amount of time. And that's going to allow his sister the time to drive the truck and pull the giant, you know, giant rope knot tight, and it'll pop all their heads at once and be a real So, but I'm really playing heavy on the fact that this is a unique attack mechanism. So we're playing on zombie, you know, stereotypes and zombie themes very heavily, but it's not the same in that everybody knows just stick the knife in the zombie head. Just stick the knife in the zombie head, right? It's almost like cliche at this point with Walking Dead. They're just so casual. They walk up and just stick them in the head, stick them in the head. No, dude, that's the exact thing that gets you infected, because it's going to blow all that shit into your face and on your skin and your neighbor's skin and all their ass. So that's the
because it's like, I know there's like a drive of the alien species to specifically target like orifices, but it's, if I remember right, that's not the only way. Like you said, if it's on your skin, it's into your system and you're fucked pretty much, right?
Yeah, as it develops into the head, the toxicity is not the right way to put it. It's like it literally is so, like the stuff itself, the goo, the protoplasm stuff itself is literally so toxic, I guess, that the human head itself begins to like lose its shape and become this crazy shape and color and all this weirdness. So in the beginning, like it would be in your GI tract and you like vomit. You know, you'd vomit and try to spew it into somebody's face or eyes or something like that. And you could do this multiple times, meaning you could infect and infect and infect. As long as you're newly infected and your body has not been ravaged by the pathogen, you have the option of, like, you know, regurgitating the shit in somebody's face or cutting their arm and regurgitating the cut, whatever. As long as it gets in,
Yeah.
you get infected. Now, when you're about to die because the ravages on the host body are so tremendous, it has a secondary infection mechanism, which is like a self-destruct kamikaze way. So that's when the head blows. When the head blows, it doesn't matter if it gets in your eyes or mouth or whatever. If it gets on your skin, it's caustic, and it's like it's going to eat through, and it's infecting you as it does that. So yes, there's like two ways that the parasite or the mechanism of the transfer happens.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let me just go back for a second and commend you on the brilliance of the wasp knife thing, and
Thank you.
it's really, really, really well thought out that, the dad's, occupation is such a just like
It's weird, yeah.
this, yeah, the Excalibur thing is a beautiful like metaphor for it, like
And
just
by the way, I didn't come up
really
with any of
awesome,
this.
man.
It just connects, and we've talked about this a million times. I won't
Yeah.
beat it into the earth, but this is one of the things where I realize how it works. Because
Mm.
there ain't no one who just figures that shit out, is what I'm saying. It just doesn't happen that way. It's never that perfect. And it's just like, once you can see this thing, meaning yourself, talking to yourself, once you see
Yeah.
that projectionist and it becomes a conversation, whoo, baby.
Yeah.
It feeds you the good stuff. It really does. It
Yeah.
feeds you the good stuff. But you have to look. You have to
Yeah.
look, and you got to be in a dark room,
Yeah.
metaphorically speaking. You have to be able to
Right.
see
That one
what
frame.
yeah, brother, that one frame, the projectionist is going to give you one shot at this thing, right? To give you the
Yeah.
clue. But once you get it and you get the back and forth, you're a creative guy. I'm sure you understand. Once you get that flow, it's like everything lines up and like, oh, of course he found the knife in the dad's thing and with the gear and all the shit that's going to be the thing that he needs, right? Of course he does.
Yeah. Right.
It's already done from the beginning. I'm just trying to piece it together. Like probably the first half hour, I had the idea this whole thing was done. You just have
No
to
kidding.
slowly, yeah, brother, man. You just have to slowly pull it apart and see all the ways it works. It's like a clock or like a mechanism. Just clockwork just works perfectly. It doesn't work perfectly just when it strikes 12. It works perfectly the whole time. You're only aware of the beauty of the 12 strike when you see it at 12. But it's always been there. It's always working under the surface. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked.
Wow. I think I may have shared this quote last time. If I didn't, shame on me. But the way you describe the projectionist, and it's telling you, I do you know who Frank Capra is? I think he's like a filmmaker, director, maybe back in the.
Frank. It sounds very familiar, but I may be conflating with something else. I'm thinking
Yeah, I
of
should probably look, but maybe a different rabbit hole. But this quote I love. It's a hunch is creativity trying to tell you something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good shit.
It is, and just being open. This is my opinion now because I respond this way to a compliment on purpose because I'm trying not to take it as I did that. It's very injurious to
Yeah,
the
it's
creative process. So I'm not trying to like shit on what you said. I love it.
yeah,
But immediately I have to say, look, it wasn't me.
yeah.
I
Dude,
didn't do it on
it's
purpose.
exactly what that guy, the last episode we did with Tucker, we were, talking through those articles we were reading that week or whatever, and that dude who
It's
wrote
fair. Yeah.
the book and was like, in the way that we kind of all, the majority, I guess, like of the civilized world or whatever, kind of recognizes something like epilepsy
Yep.
as taking over, and if if a person was driving and had an epileptic seizure and ended up causing an accident and people died, it wouldn't be fair or right to charge them with murder. I mean, involuntary manslaughter or whatever the technicality, but it wasn't an intentional, like he was out of control. And this guy is saying, like, basically that's how we should treat everything. Not just like this particular scenario where people died, but like the good things, just like you said. You're like, I didn't really do it. Like
Well,
the praise and stuff. It's like we don't
well,
really,
but there is a point of disconnect with the gentleman's thesis in that what I'm talking about is consciousness and subconsciousness shaking hands. And what I'm saying is you can have a wholly conscious level that's like Ted Bundy. Okay, that motherfucker needs to fry a million times over. Like
yeah,
that's conscious evil where you're trying to pre-plan a cold-blooded act. And what I'm saying is the subconscious rage would be like Murder 2 or something, where you're filled with rage or something, and it's not a pre-planned thing. You did kill the guy, but you walked in on him with your wife, right? It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Meaning some people have a rage of emotion and feeling because, dude, you just slapped my kid. And yeah, you know, popping both your eyes out and, you know, dislocating both your arms and, you know, punching you so hard in the throat you'll never speak again was probably an overreaction to your kid getting slapped. But I could understand, right? I mean, I could understand.
Yeah.
But the guy who's fully conscious and gets pleasure out of sadistically torturing somebody, that's not their subconscious. Okay, that is their consciousness having power and using deception and manipulation in such a way that you're using the other person's weakness against them, meaning the other person would never even conceive of such a thing. Anyway, this is a lot of what goes into this screenplay, though, is the tension between the conscious sort of attack, which is when the pumpkin head first infects somebody. It's going to consciously try to deceive you and play upon your weaknesses. And when it gets to an advanced stage, the pumpkin head is now just going to be filled with like rage and running and attacking, and it's just going to come after you like an animal, like a bear that's angry. Okay, now they both will kill you. So the fun of the story, obviously is not the right term, but the fun of the idea, the fun of the idea is to play with these two levels of danger. One is this conscious, like, you got to be careful. It's not what it looks like. It's deceitful. It's manipulative. It's lying. Okay, it's using untruth. The other one is it's exactly what it looks like. This thing's coming at you. It's filled with rage, and it wants to kill you now. And you're either going to sit there and die, or you're going to run, or you're going to fight back. But you're going to be put to the test now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, man. It's such a cool idea, dude. I'm really jazzed by like all of the thought and effort you put into it so far, or that's happened. Like whether you did it consciously, but, all those things. But I know,
totally.
I mean, yeah.
No, but back. I'm just going to bounce off this because this is such an important part. You're right in that the innovation, the source, is the projectionist and not me. But you have to sit in the theater to watch.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that is, it is exactly this duality that the consciousness has a role to play as an observer. And if you're not observing intentionally, you might be hiding something from yourself. You might be distracting yourself. You might be burying the signal with alcohol or porn or whatever, right? Whatever. It doesn't even matter. This is what I'm getting at. Until you realize the game is afoot, you can't ever get to the source. So this is half the battle, is just realizing we have to sit in the theater, turn the lights out, everybody be quiet now. The movie's about to start.
Yeah.
Like, until we get to that point as a collective, whoo, baby, we're in some shit. But the metaphor is the screenplay is a way to reach the audience at the level of metaphor where it sinks into their subconscious. We can't tell them directly. Like, you and I can have this conversation because we've had probably 50 hours of background conversations. And we have this shared understanding at this point that we use many thought experiments, many stories, many life tales, lived experience, all this stuff we've shared back and forth to get to this point where I can have this conversation with you now, and we are fully on the same page, and hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. So I did have a hunch. There's something here when you said until we realize the game is afoot. I'm like, there's something here about like we can't take the first step because foot and step. There's something there. I don't know if it's a haiku or just anyway.
Well, it's a pun. I didn't mean it. I like it though. I really like it. It's an unintentional. No pun intended. I can actually say that. No pun intended. Hey.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Let me read through the last bullet points here on again. Just key events. So yeah, there's this calm before the storm. Then there's the third wave of hell that traps the mom and the youngest son, leading to the death of the son, who was also the youngest in the family. Would you say in the in this arc, is that like the lowest kind of point? Would you say?
Yes. Yes,
Pretty,
that's
yeah,
because here's one of the things we don't like to admit, which is nature is it would be cruel if it cared. It's indifferent. Like
yeah,
unimaginable suffering is completely okay with nature.
yeah. Wow.
Unimaginable. Just take the word. Like imagine a wildebeest, running for its life and then finally falling valiantly and just being consumed alive by a pack of wild dogs as it's gasping its last breaths. I mean, just the right. I mean, there's no mercy. There's no there's no
Yeah,
truth. There's no truth in mercy, John. Okay, this is a completely made up thing that humans have created. There's literally no such thing.
it's a social construct,
It's a
if you will,
social
right?
construct. Yeah, 100%. Mercy is almost counter evolutionarily up until like much more recently. Okay, there's a bunch of strategy, game theory. Once you become merciful, that unlocks different levels of growth. So you can't discount it. But I'm saying to evolve to that level, you have to have a base level first. You have to have this base level first because the mercy level, it gets outcompeted immediately by anything that just takes your trust and takes your goodwill and uses it against you.
Wow.
So it's very difficult to get to that higher level. We all strive for this, and we'll keep doing it, by the way. There is a higher level of game theory where cooperation through information sharing is far superior, just because you can't move shit around as fast as information goes, and you can't copy it as freely
Yeah,
as information can be copied. So there's this intrinsic level of cooperation that unleashes the best of all worlds for us if we share it. If we use it to kill each other, it could be the thing that ends us all. And if we don't use it at all, if we're all just, you can only trust what you make with your own two hands and your family and etc., then we can never advance. You can't have, skyscrapers and jets and internets at that point, because there's
yeah,
just no way a single family unit can come up with all those innovations and understandings to put that
yeah,
thing together. So there's an interconnected strength of the network, obviously, that grows exponentially. And this is exponential growth, man. Nothing else touches it.
yeah.
Exponential growth of
Wow.
information is untouchable. So we're at this next level, but I'm telling you, man, we have to fight through our evolved level, which is this Dunbar's number level of, we have a trust issue.
Yeah,
And the safest way is to have a tribe and just trust those tribe, and they are your life, and you will do anything for them, and they'll do anything for you, and everybody else is a potential enemy at best.
yeah. Dude, it's reminding me of Harry Potter, of course, right? But Goblet of Fire, when the Triwizard Tournament and all the others, the others come in, and
Interesting, yeah.
Ron goes to Hermione. He's like, "You're fraternizing with the enemy," and she's like, "The enemy? Like, what are you talking about?" And she says, I
They're
really like the
guests.
way she says, like,
Yeah,
international magical cooperation. Well, the
totally.
magical part maybe isn't as relevant or realistic, I suppose. I mean, that's in our world is what I mean. But yeah, international cooperation, with the other, like not dehumanizing the other, like that's seems a very clear path forward and an evolved, way for our species to, be geared towards. Makes so much sense to me, you know.
I think it's
So
beautiful. I really do. I think that's a beautiful encapsulation of it. And it is, in principle, exactly what we're talking about, using this thing that we have for the best purposes, not for, these short-sighted purposes that are like, it's either trust or not trust. You really have to
yeah,
get onto a societal
yeah,
side. And there's a whole different level of strategy for trust society versus low trust, high trust versus low trust. It's one of the major players. Like, there's probably three major players. There's probably intelligence, strength, and trust. Like, these are the three. If you're going to build like a D&D character or something, like, this is what
yeah,
it
right,
takes.
yeah,
I want to put I want to put all mine into agility, and I'll become a thief. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, yeah. No, we get it. Yeah.
like as a society, what the people of that society choose culturally is a big part of how they're gonna operate as a team. I mean, it comes down to predictability of each other's movements and actions, and if there's going to be a society that's high trust, I would think there's a ton of cooperation, and but it can go too far. And here's my point: if there is such a thing as a system that can be exploited for personal gain, and it's too vulnerable by too much trust, it doesn't take but a few low trust individuals to exploit that and use it drastically to their personal benefit.
And
And
then
ultimately,
it's like bad apple spoils the bunch, and then it's like ruined for everybody.
well, the truth is, John, there is a tension there, because if I were to give you a lottery ticket and say this lottery ticket would be like $20 billion or whatever, and you want to cash it, like everybody would cash it, just about everybody. I don't think anybody would really think about all the long-term consequences of becoming a 20 billionaire.
Yeah.
So there's stuff that happens where the behavior becomes emergent based on the rule set that they find themselves in. Nobody's creating their own rule sets here, right? We're born into our rule set. And the manipulation level comes at those who are setting the global rules that we're subconsciously solving on our own benefit. So your objective function is to maximize your play within the rule set you find yourself. So modern technology and modern everything. Well, I'm probably going to get really good on my phone. I'm going to get really good at my email. I'm going to get really good at my social presence. I'm going to right. It's going to.
Yeah.
The behavior is emergent based off of what works. And when we change the game, that the new strategy is going to be this kind of player character. Let's go back to the video game or D&D thing. The player character attributes are not chosen randomly. So there's a rule set in D&D that you're trying to exploit by creating your player character with certain attributes. So the warrior, you want strength, right? And the wizard wants wisdom and all these things, right? You can do these things because you understand there's an impact in the rule set. And so we are solving for that all the time, whether you care about it or not. That's all that's happening is your subconscious, your Google algorithm is trying to, set yourself up. So when you realize this is in play, it's a huge power. Most people, I don't think, myself included, I didn't realize it till a year or two ago. So who am I to talk? But anyway, the point is, this game is played at such a level that we're like the top little slimy layer on top. Meaning it's like a film. It's like it's not even inside the real thing. You can't even see inside your subconscious. It's so dark. It's walled off from you on purpose. So your layer is the layer of storytelling, and this I'm bringing it back to the screenplay. Making the screenplay is the way to get the signal out.
Yeah.
If it's go back to Harry Potter. Okay.
Right.
Embedding the lessons, the metaphors embedding the lessons at the metaphorical level in a narrative.
Yeah.
Allows you to really, because here's what's happening. When you're in the real world and you get that little flash of a scene in Harry Potter of Hermione talking to Ron about, these foreigners coming in, that's how it works. That's literally how it works. That compression of that idea in that scene, such that you only need a flash of an image to be able to decrypt and decompress it and use it. And most of the time, what I'm saying, John, is people are completely unaware that this is happening. They're thinking it's their thought, right? So now they're thinking the idea. So it's so.
Oh my God! It just like tickles my brain, dude. To like, I know we've like, it's kind of like the kind of thing that we're talking about over and over, but in different ways, kind of each time, different flavors, and it's like, it's still that same root thing of the the model, the flow of it, and how it's actually working. And it's like, God, dude, it's so endlessly fascinating to me.
Tell me if I'm wrong, John. This is what makes The Matrix one of the coolest, if not the coolest, movie series of all time.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
the same exact thing of you're in a simulation, dude. It's the waking up that is so you can't stop talking about it. You
Yeah.
can't stop enjoying the steak and realizing that's a simulation. You can't stop enjoying looking out of the window of the high rise or standing on the edge of the building and realizing it's a simulation. Like all this stuff, and realize how it's such a beautiful metaphor. I think I will
Yeah,
never stop being intrigued by it, nor will I
me
stop
too.
talking about it. I think it's
Yeah,
like infinitely interesting.
right. Ah, dude, so good.
So good.
All right, let me get the rest of these bullet points here. So yeah, so the aftermath of the third wave, where the mom gives up from the pain of the emotional psychological trauma and she commits suicide because again she makes this choice to like not let her youngest succumb to this horrible fate. Instead, she's stepping in before that happens and ending the child's life. And again, lowest point in the whole like arc, kind of, like uh
It's like a
what was
Sophie's
it?
Choice kind of a thing, dude. Honestly,
Yeah,
remember Sophie's Choice? Like it's an impossible situation. What I'm saying is
yeah,
there's no mercy. You will be put into an impossible situation. You will have to do an impossible thing, and you think it's not possible.
yeah,
And that's part of our modern comfort level is you're not faced with this, and thank goodness none of us are faced with this. But man, it's not because of anything we did.
yeah.
We got born at a certain time that these
Right.
choices
Yes.
don't have, right?
And none of us asked to be bored, right? like
No, that
like
as
all of
well.
us exist because somebody else decided to, um procreate, and here we are. you
It's a
know.
strange place to be in. Yeah, you're in the middle
hmm
of this chain reaction, and you blip into existence from nothing. And if you're lucky, you realize at some point you will disappear as nothing as well. And so you're just this little space in between two moments of arbitrary length. You just like what a
Right.
preposterous thing we are find ourselves in, right? I mean, this is like crazy town. And what I'm saying
Yeah.
is there's no intrinsic mercy of this experience between these two moments. It could be the worst, it could be the best, and a lot of it has nothing to do with you. And so it's kind of like a Zen thing, is what I'm getting at, of being at peace. I don't know if you can be at peace if you're constantly tortured, but
Mm.
like I don't even know. Like it's so hard to empathize and sympathize with another point of view. This is really the heart of this show. Okay, is really wrapping your mind around understanding alternate points of view and how terrible it must
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah. Right.
Or at the end, brother, when it's the brother and the sister who win, man, they're gonna have a hug that's as
Yeah.
good
Right.
as any hug in this world, because you know what?
Right.
If your life is really on the line and you're walking across the tightrope and you get to the other side and someone grabs you off that ledge and hugs you, tell me that's not going to be the best fucking hug of your life.
Right. Yeah. Totally. And
Tell me when you're
yeah.
fasting, when you haven't eaten for 3 days because you're trying to fast, and you get a cupcake or you get a biscuit or you get a cracker or something. Tell me that thing doesn't taste so good.
Yeah. Right. Oh man, there is a movie. It's just right on the. Somebody's making that point. I can't remember what it is. It'll probably come to me later. I'll text you, be like, "Hey, it was this." But
Of
yeah, it's
course.
something about that. Uh,
Well, there is a point
uh,
there. It's actually I know one. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about. It's Fight Club. So when they
yes,
go
yes, it's Fight
and they
Club.
find
Yes.
the veterinarian guy who's going to be a veterinarian, they pull him out of the store. They make him kneel down and say, "What do you want to be?" And this store clerk says, "A veterinarian." And he
Yeah.
says, "Motherfucker, I've got your ID. I'm going to find you. If you are not applying to a college by next
Yeah.
week or whatever." And then as they're walking away, he's like, "That guy's going to wake up tomorrow. His cup of
Coffee's
coffee will
gonna be
never
good as
taste
being a vet.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
everything's going to be so,
Yes,
the
that's what it is. Yeah.
sky will be bluer. Everything will
Than
be
it's ever
crisp
been.
and
Yeah, that's such a gnarly scene too, because uh, you know, uh, I couldn't see myself like it seems so like harsh and unkind to do that. But then the point that he makes is
What is
like,
the drill sergeant doing for you, John? Is he really being an asshole because he hates you?
yeah, like Gordon Ramsay. Like I don't know if you watch Hell's Kitchen, but like
Oh, I've definitely
that,
watched Gordon Ramsay. Yeah,
yeah, like I think about that as like a boot camp thing. It's like there's this goal of just serving up this food. That's all that matters during that 2 hour period or whatever. So anytime someone's like, well, I thought I'd do this, he's like, there's no time for that. The whole thing is like really kind of like becoming this one of the cogs in this whole machine where if
a
everybody
team,
is like
a
operating,
team.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
you're coming
exactly.
as a team. That's so. What I'm
And if
saying
everybody's
is,
operating together, like this beautiful like thing happens, and
what I'm saying is when you have, so it's the team has a coach and there's a quarterback and there's linemen and there's wide receivers. When you're
right.
on a team, you know what everybody's doing and they know what you're doing. And what I'm saying is the teams that win against all odds, no matter what, it doesn't matter what happens, the teams that win are the ones that take no excuses. They don't complain. They don't lie. They listen to each other and they help each other. And when you do those 5 things, you will roll over just about any opposition you will ever find that bitches and complains and whines and worries and doesn't tell the truth to each other and won't listen and they won't help each other.
Yeah.
So the opposite of all these 5 things is what you find in a mob. Okay, you have this, it doesn't mean the mob is weak, by the way. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the mob is scary, dangerous. But the mob and the team are only differentiated by a pattern of understanding. There's literally nothing else added or removed other than the understanding of each of the members of this group. So like a pattern, it's literally just a pattern that has to be laid over 50 people. And you're 50 people in a mob or you're 50 people in a team. And the only difference is the pattern. And what I'm saying is when you get a drill sergeant who knows the pattern has to be this way because everybody's life depends upon it, they're not going to tell you that in a nice way. They're going to make you understand that. Because it's like if you were about to slip off the edge of something and I'm the only one in the room that sees it and I have to push people out of my way to go reach you, to grab you by the wrist right as you're falling off the edge, I'm going to do it. I don't give a shit. I'll fucking spill red wine all over your carpet. I'll fucking push a grandma down. If you're about to die and I have to do that thing. So what I'm saying is there's a level of care and concern of what the end result is that leaders take on themselves and will take no excuse and will make it happen. And if you don't like that, then you're the leader now. Seriously. So anybody underneath, you now challenge the leader. And so you're either going to take it over and you're going to do it your way or you're going to listen to me.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a big thing right now. It's a big thing because we have so much interconnectivity that our teams could be so powerful. Our teams could be so powerful.
Right.
If we were, like in the Carl Sagan sense, working for this common goal. This is why I love Contact. It's taking this mentality of we have to do this thing. We have to figure out the signal. It is so important. We're going to get the entire world because the world rotates and the signal is intermittent based on which side you're facing of the fucking source. He built this goddamn story such that it made through physics a unity of the world, brother. Do you know how genius that is?
Right.
I hate to spoil it because I'm going to bring this up, but like that gift of putting a code in his metaphor is so strong in that book. So powerful, dude.
Yeah.
It might last 500 years. It might last 5,000 years. That might be the book that really brings people together in another 500. I don't even know. It's that good.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Totally. I think, and I do think Andy Weir kind of, is taking the baton, if you will, like with The Martian and Project Hail Mary. You know what I mean? It's a kind of a similar thing of these like rallying
So
unifying.
I watched The Martian. I read the Project Hail Mary off of your recommendation. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So I definitely get that. I think
yeah,
there are new metaphors afoot. 100%. I think this is the new way, meaning it's not the new way, excuse me. It's the old way, like refining the old way again, that it always is conveyed through stories.
yeah, yes,
All of our information is passed down through lore. It's
yeah,
passed down through myth. It's passed down through metaphor. Everything we do, brother, everything. We don't
yeah,
talk to each other in reality. It's all encoded in a symbolic way of this is that. And it really isn't. We know that. But who
yeah.
wants to just say this is this all day long? This is this. This is this. This is no. It's fucking this is that. You know I'm lying to you, so it makes sense. Anyway,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's why this is why I want to go so deep on it in this conversation, and I'm so happy you're allowing this room to dialogue, because this is what the story's about. Meaning Pumpkinheads. This is
yeah,
literally it. It's getting at the level of, we're going to do this story and we're going to repeat it, and you're going to see it from many different angles, and your point of view is going to be stressed by what you see from different angles. Are you capable of following along such that you can feel it from the point of view of each person?
yeah. Right. It's very brilliant concept and unique. I think I don't think there's quite anything like it right now. So
But maybe to
kick
heal the
ass.
wounds, maybe, thank you so much, but maybe to help heal the wounds of this issue we have right now, which is the other, and dividing, not uniting, all
Right.
these things, breaking the team into fractions and not combining them into wholes. So I think this is a core amalgam of the consciousness concept, evolution, and how we got conscious with what do we do now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm still trying to get through these. It's too hard, man. Every one of these bullet points is
Blast it,
like,
go for it, do it.
okay. So I actually do think the last of these all kind of tie in. So, okay. So the twins make a costly choice. This idea that only the strong survive, but not always. The smart twin sacrifices herself so the popular twin may live. She faced a no-win situation, and if one twin hadn't sacrificed their life for the other, they both would have died. Only the smart twin figures this out and figures out her sister won't, so smart twin chooses death. And then this vengeance is mine. Last remaining survivors, the popular twin and the older brother, come together and devise a plan to rid their island of Pumpkinheads and save the day. So yeah,
By the way, I'm still considering and thinking, and your contribution of allowing the smart twin a resurrection moment of we deceive the audience, so to speak, and you know
mm.
and right, the deception pass and having her not really die, that kind of a concept.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Because
right.
you brought up,
I remember that
because
now.
I was
Yeah,
kind of cold hearted on it. I thought she just has to die. You're
yeah,
like, but
yeah. I
wait.
remember thinking like, oh man.
Oh man, oh no, that's so
But
sad. It's
I'm
like,
soft like that. I mean, that's just my,
you have
what I mean.
mercy. You have you,
Right.
you have the social construct of mercy. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but that would be something to toy with. Would be that, at season 2 or whatever, that she really didn't die. Maybe she does, you know, plunge into deception pass and somehow miraculously survive. Anyway, I don't know, but
Yeah.
that would be one of the twists. Would be that moment, I think, of her. So, if I may, I think actually, you know what? You tell me. I can't recall what comes next. If it's more written out, should I be descriptive of that choice, or is that in the next
I
podcast?
think
The
that's
next.
yeah. So because that was the whole key events, just like kind of the bullet points.
That's right.
Then the next post is the narrative, and that's where it's like much more detailed. So we could there's quite a bit here. I say we like at least start. We'll see how far we get. We're
Yeah, go for it. Just hit it,
yeah.
and I'll be quiet.
It's all good. Yeah, because again, it's just the you've done such a good job like writing all of this stuff out, and um, I know the date on here is May 30th, 2022, but again, you've had these ideas for not 10 years, but right, something like 6, 7 years, right?
About 7 years, I think is about right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah.
Wow. All right, opening scene montage, sweeping aerial shots of the family boating around Whidbey Island, Washington. Everyone is happy and smiling in the beautiful sunshine. The pristine backdrop of the Pacific Northwest is a feast for the eyes. They are on a very nice fishing boat, not of commercial size, but certainly well equipped for personal use. Close-up shots of the family fishing and crabbing are cut with wide-angle views of the boat at speed around the island, especially through Deception Pass. So right at the beginning, here we go. It's like it's like setting up for something to happen there. I think maybe there's music, right? Maybe there's like a particular musical theme or something that is the Deception Pass theme or whatever. Like, oh, and in fact, the next thing
I was gonna say.
I should have like just got reading. Background music is Rhapsody in Blue with arrangements changing episode to episode, matching the thematic changes. So you're already like, yeah, you're already ahead of me on this stuff, dude.
No,
Like,
we're right on the
so
same
good.
page. I love that,
Yeah.
dude. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so the first double episode, it says, is Dad's point of view. It will feature Dad as the main character. The show will open with normal family activities and character introduction development. The main characters are introduced. The first waypoint scene is of the family offloading the fishing boat with their day's catch, cleaning up the vessel, and packing the SUV for their drive back home. Waypoint scenes are very special moments for plot development in which the viewer will get a chance to revisit these scenes from different angles throughout the series. I'm just gonna like quickly scan ahead here. Like, okay, I see. I was gonna say something, but I see it's coming up, so I won't say it. I'll wait. Just read it. Okay. Each time through, the viewer receives additional information from a different character's point of view. For example, the first waypoint scene would consist of 3 character subgroups with their own interactions, and the plot would unfold each time the scene is revisited. So, like, one of a good run before it crashed. Okay, I'm back now. Anyway, so first bullet point: Dad and the oldest son cleaning up the boat and stowing gear while tied up their slip. Second one: Mom and the twins carrying the day's catch from the boat towards the SUV to pack and bring home for dinner. Third: Grandma and youngest son sitting inside the SUV, the little one tired from the day's activities, and Grandma comforting him and having a special moment. So that makes a lot of sense to me in that way. And then here's what I'm really liking. Since the first double episode is Dad's point of view, we'd focus on his activities and the conversations he's having with the oldest son. Some time spent looking at and discussing some of the commercial fisherman's gear, the wasp knife, hello, like beautiful introduction of it. Fireworks, shot of rope, perhaps. The rope, yeah, right. Survival suit, right? The armor you kind of mentioned. Brilliant.
Yep.
Banter back and forth about Dad's expectations of son and why he's not fulfilling them. Oh, this is another. Well, I'll keep reading. Okay. Son's attempt to parry the idea he should get his shit together with the counter of Dad not being in touch with his predicament in life and just being an absent father in general. This is more of normal father-son dialogue here. Nothing showing too many cracks in the relationship. I do want to say here, I think this is a theme. I don't remember if you've like specifically called it out, but that generational type of follow in the parents' footsteps, like this is sort of like the life we imagined for you, and you're kind of expected as, whereas the actual human life, I believe this is kind of true, universally true, maybe objectively true, maybe like that doesn't make a lot of sense, to just like expect a human to be like to not try to find their own purpose in life, to just like everybody's, I think, got to have those moments in their life to really question, like, is this what I want? I mean, here, let me just read the quote from.
Well, hold on, one quick second. Just let me throw something out. 100% yes, but I'm looking at it from the point of view that we all start as the baby, and then we grow into the
Wait, sorry,
child,
dude.
and then we
Wait,
become
sorry. So sorry. Crashed. So right when you started, do you mind backing up?
Sure, sure,
Okay,
sure,
thanks.
sure. So what I was just saying, I 100% agree with that analysis. There's um, a generational point of view. Okay, that's very powerful. That it was going to be a bright light shown on it. But what I'm getting at is we are. I mean, assuming you have you take this arc. Not everybody does, but if you take the arc of, you're a child and born as a baby, and then you're a young adult, and then you become an adult, and then you have a chance to become a parent, and then you restart the cycle again. So it's like for everybody who thinks, hey, as the kid, I want to find my own way, you would also think that their parent was once like that.
Yeah.
The parent was also once a rebel as a child. And so what I'm getting at is the parent who loves the child. So it's not out of not loving. It's a mismatch of understandings, but there's a deep love there that is profound,
Mm.
and it's both biological and social. And what I'm getting at is the parent who's gone through their own phase of I think I know better. They know that. They know that their kid thinks that. They know that they used to think that. They understand the irony of it. They understand how frustrated it is to try to guide your child, but also understand they have to find their own way
Yeah.
too. So that's what I'm getting
Okay.
at is you're not wrong at all, but I look at it
The
as
dad's aware of that, is what you're kind of saying. Like,
well, maybe not consciously. I'm saying we all, when you see that moment when your kid does the thing you used to do and they think that they're special, and I'm not saying your kid's not special. What I'm just saying is you realize, oh, he's doing it like I used to do it. And I probably did it like my dad used to do it. And he probably did it like his dad. Like there's a point here of you are a kind of animal. And you're probably, if you feel the same way about everything as somebody else, you're probably going to do things kind of the same way.
yeah.
Just that's the nature of the rule set. Like if you have a rule set and you're a giraffe and I'm in a giraffe, we're probably going to eat the leaves at the top of the tree. Okay. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's not like magic. It's not like I'm talking to you and saying, oh, these are the best leaves and the ones at the bottom are stupid. No, we're just fucking giraffes, man. We have 18-foot necks. We just like to be up high. And like, so my point is the cycle, it's unfair, but you really don't realize how unfair it is until it's later in life. And then you're trying to tell the person who's the next in line, like, I'm trying to help you, but they think it's unfair. I don't know, it's complicated,
Yeah.
is my point. It's very complicated, I think, in trying to pass down useful information, but being aware or unaware that this happened to you. And when it was your turn, you didn't want to listen either.
Yeah.
And so change is a thing, to your point, right? Change is a thing. And having a status quo is to not change. But there's a tension there. That's what I'm trying to get at, is the push and pull between reinventing yourself and being an individual versus having a structured societal cultural way of doing things and all the strengths and benefits that might come along with
Yeah.
that.
Trinity in Matrix Resurrections, she goes, how do you know if you want something yourself or if your upbringing programmed you to want it?
Nice. Yeah. Powerful.
Yep.
That one.
All right, cool. So they've essentially just had a great day out fishing and are all happy, but this is a brief moment of dad-son time, and chores are being done in the background, almost unnoticed by the viewer, not yet familiar with the storytelling style. Mom and the twins can be seen making trips, wheeling the coolers back to the SUV running idle on the dock. Later in the series, maybe the remaining two-thirds of the character subgroups will get their chance to play out as the focal point of this waypoint seed. We will get a chance to hear what the mom and the twins are talking about, and we get a peek inside the idling SUV as grandma and youngest son are having their moment too. Yeah, super, super awesome there. These waypoint scenes will not necessarily be revisited by each and every one of the main characters. The example, this opening scene will not play out 7 times. Instead, since the family unit is broken into these 3 subgroups, one can expect to see the scene play out 3 times during the series. There will also be touchstone scenes, which where very identifiable events take place and reorient the viewer to the story's timeline. For example, there could be a big bonfire scene outside the home on the night they return from the fishing trip. This is the moment when the strange meteor shower is observed by the whole family. This scene would play out for each character during their own POV episode. These will be very brief moments in time played out like in Groundhog Day, but instead of the point of view each time being Bill Murray's, it's going to play out from the point of view of the story's focal character for that episode. The following day starts off as normal. Grandma and Mom in the kitchen making breakfast, Dad in the garage tinkering with fishing equipment, Smart Twin reading a book outside in the grass, older son in his room playing video games, Popular Twin fixing her appearance and gabbing on the phone with her friend. Remember, this is the 90s, no smartphones yet, and texting isn't that big of a thing. Yeah, good context. Younger son running around and playing with the family dog. This will be the final morning of true normalcy this family and perhaps the world will ever know. I don't know where
That was a bummer, that one.
did you?
You said that right after no, you said you got the exact line out. This is the last moment they may ever know, and that was it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Calm before the storm. That was one of the bullet points in the outline. Yeah. So,
Yep, calm before the storm. That's right.
so after breakfast, the family breaks off once again to begin prepping for the day's big event, a neighborhood barbecue at their house. It's the Pacific Northwest, so this barbecue will have ample foodstuffs from the sea, such as crab and salmon, as well as hot dogs and hamburgers. Dad is making ready a very nice fireworks setup for that evening. Mom and Grandma are cleaning up, setting up, and prepping food for the barbecue. Older son is still in his room, of course. Popular Twin is now socializing with 2 of her BFFs as they flit here and there around the house doing girly things. Smart Twin is dutifully assisting Mom and Gran. Youngest son is watching Dad prep the fireworks show. Little do they know the alien parasite that accompanied the meteor shower to Earth the night previous is beginning to take effect on a selection of unfortunate human hosts. I forgot that. Yeah, so the first infection isn't the dad. The first infection are other humans that end up coming. I think that's coming up here. So as guests begin arriving, we are introduced to some of Dad's buddies. A mix of blue-collar working men and some white-collar upper-class neighbors discuss fishing, sports, home improvements, etc. The beer starts flowing, and they all start to get happy on this beautiful summer afternoon. Mom's lady friends are also in attendance, mostly the wives of Dad's buddies and women from the neighborhood. As this is Dad's point of view, they are mostly background characters at this point. Youngest son has plenty of playmates, and they are running here and there, playing games and chasing the dog. The Smart Twin, I think I lost Bob. App crashed. Maybe I'll keep reading. Sounds like you're.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. It looked like I looked down and I was like, I think I lost you, but the app crashed.
Sorry,
I'm guessing, right?
I got a phone call.
Oh,
and I tried
no
to.
joke.
I tried to. No joke. I tried to dismiss it, and I did. And when I tried to get back onto the app, I could see you, but I couldn't speak.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, cool. So let's see. Yeah, youngest son has plenty of playmates, and they're running here and there. Did I already read this? No, yeah. They're running here and there, playing games, chasing the dog. The Smart Twin mainly hangs by Grandma's side and observes the carefree interactions at the party. Popular Twin is busy being queen bee in the swarm of teenage girls at the party and occasionally making eyes at and flirting with cute boys.
Hey, are you there?
I'm back. We will get through this, I promise.
Oh my goodness, I feel terrible.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, like it's
Okay.
just solidifying the like, yeah, we're gonna graduate to do like a real...
I think they're closing this thing off. It's dying as we speak.
Probably. I'm gonna start like trying to capture the audio from the previous episodes. But anyway, okay, so I don't know where I died off of there, but she's a tease and good at it, I think is what I said. So older son is now in the mix as well, looking depressed, and he is missing out on video game time. He gets
That's
he
right.
gets the occasional walk-up interaction from dad's friends or other guys his age, and he mumbles his way through pained interaction until they grow bored and leave him be. Yeah, nice description there. I can see that. Dad and his best buddies
Yeah.
reminisce about their time working together on a crab boat, telling stories about the good old days. Both are getting pretty drunk, and each story is a topper of the last. The showstopper is a tale when the buddy saved dad's life with putting his own life at risk in the process. Oh, right. I think I'm kind of remembering this part. The crew had been grinding for 20 hours on string after string of good, clean crab. Dad was working the rail, throwing the hook, and his buddy was working the hydros. As they were setting back, Dad made a rookie mistake in his bone-crushing weariness and lifted his foot off the deck. As bad luck would have it, a loop of the crab pot's buoy line encircled Dad's lower leg. It was only the keen eye of Dad's buddy and his quick action to knock him down and unloop his leg that saved Dad from the bite of the rope and a quick descent 600 feet to the bottom of the Bering Sea, being dragged down by 1,000-pound crab pot. Yeah, intense.
By the way, I've literally seen that on the show.
No kidding.
Like that is literally
wow.
kidding. So the hydros are these hydraulic controls. So imagine this pot. So a pot is like a big steel frame box cube with netting on it and a little way that the crabs get in, and they hang some meat in there, something to bait, and then they drop these pots off into the side of the ocean. But there's a hydraulic arm that grabs them and pulls them up and then puts them onto like this little carriage that then attaches it to the side of the ship, and it like pulls it on board. Anyway, these things are deadly, and they're on the side of a moving boat in freezing weather. I mean, the waves are going up and down 20 foot, winds blowing 50, and it's like 20 degrees outside, and they do this for hours at a time. Anyway, the thing is so heavy. If your foot or leg gets wrapped, or any part of your body gets wrapped with one of these lines, when the thing goes taut, it tightens on you. It won't let go. And so it's not just like a normal line getting wrapped around and you think it's all good. It's like this thing's moving at a certain speed with a certain force, and you'll just go right along with it. You'll literally be torn out of your shoes and just be pulled down. And so the point is, this is a setup for future use of these lines, right?
Oh, yes. Right. For the sort of the climax with the popular twin and the sun, right? And the rope and all that. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Exactly. So when the thing pulls tight, it's potentially deadly. So it's like a metaphorical thing. But and then also the promise of self-sacrifice. So somebody saving your dad, and then dad's going to be the hero here in just a minute.
All right. Yeah. So mom was mingling as well, and she had a concerned look on her face. Above the din of the boisterous party, the voice of one of her neighbors had made its presence felt one time too many. Most are drinking, many are getting drunk, but this one woman is standing out just a bit with her behavior. A mix of intoxication and flirtation are calling attention to this woman, and it's just a half phase out of place for what would be the normal block party behavior. Dun, dun, dun. She is married.
Yeah.
She's married but actively flirting with men who are not her husband. As she circles the crowd, she brushes up against Dad's best bud, the guy who saved his life way back when. It's a classic move, pressing her sweater-bound tits gently but unmistakably firmly into his back, then sliding a firm hand down his shoulder to his forearm while apologizing for her transgression. Message received. Dad's buddy is married too, and he's not accustomed to stray, but tonight this woman seems to have put a spell on him. After some close talking and deep eye-gazing, they both make their way to a secluded spot in a guest bedroom. The woman is intent on having her way with the married man. He's pretty intoxicated, and his inhibitions are way, way down, so it doesn't take too much convincing to get him on the bed and in a compromising position. With the buddy laying back on the bed and the woman on top straddling him, she strips off her sweater and bra and places his hands on her breasts. She leans in for a long, deep kiss, her hands entwined in his hair. Just as their lips lock, she begins making a disturbing sound from deep within her gut, reminiscent of the sound a dog makes before vomiting. She pins his head down and back, and with all her weight and strength, she projectile vomits a stream of black bile-looking fluid directly into his mouth, nose, and eyes. Dude, fucking like, when you wrote that, do you remember just being like, nailed it? Were you like laughing or just like so elated? That's really
I
well
don't even
written.
know, dude. Do you want to know the real truth, John? Is I don't remember writing any of these words.
Wow.
It sounds like someone else wrote them. I'm not even
Wow.
shitting you, dude. Not
That's
even
so
a little
cool.
bit. No.
The woman is in her early stages of the pumpkinhead disease, and this man is now infected as well. Yeah, so like you were saying earlier, it starts as kind of more cloak and dagger or whatever, before it's just all out, and then there's no subterfuge or whatever. But this is that first kind of iteration, if you like, right? So,
Yes, exactly.
in shock, the man pushes her off him and stumbles up. By the way, I just got to go back to like, just as their lips lock, she begins making a disturbing sound from deep within her gut, reminiscent of the sound a dog makes before vomiting. It's so like visually like descriptive. I mean, anybody I think who has a dog is just, it's just like brilliant, right?
Thank you. See, here's the deal, dude. Here's the deal, man. Did you get dropped?
Back. Anyway, I just wanted to like
Okay.
double down on the kudos there. Okay, so
Thank you. Well, let me just say something real quick. This is an illustration, I feel, before I was aware of where the signal is coming from for this stuff, meaning how immersed I was into experiencing the narrative that I'm describing with words before I described it with words. So I could, as I'm feeling or seeing or listening or whatever, experiencing this story play out in my head, given to me, not consciously, I'm telling you, like as a dream.
Yeah.
It is so real that I did this so many times that the description is like trying to describe reality.
Wow.
Meaning when you are so immersed into the model of this world, knowing what each character would do because you feel what they feel like and you understand what they understand and you kind of would just act how they would act. It's very powerful. And I'm telling you, that's where the good shit comes from, not the conscious choice of like, oh, I'm going to make a story. It's like feeling what it would be like to be in this world that you create. I'm talking like Harry Potter stuff. Like imagine being JK and you just create these characters and they're real and they're in a place. And once you get enough steam built up behind you, you would just be like, what would Hermione do in this situation? I know it's cliche to ask that, but it's like, what would she do right now? And I know JK knows because she embodies that thing. She can feel it. So you would literally hear the sound that the dog's stomach makes as it's kind of hunching over, right? Doing that little pre-vomiting sound of their stomach going like, whatever that thing is, that's what I envision happened in that moment.
It's so gnarly, dude. Yeah, I love it. All right, so in shock, the man pushes her off of him and stumbles upright and out of bed, cursing profusely. Although extremely repulsed by what has just occurred, his first thoughts are that this woman is far drunker than he'd realized, and this development has exponentially increased his odds of being detected as a cheater. He grabs a t-shirt off the floor and wipes his face as clean as he can get it, then enters the bathroom and starts running the water in the sink. Grabbing a towel, he washes his face and stares hard in the mirror. Did that really just happen? He says to himself while looking hard in the mirror. The woman is still in bed, apparently spent. The man exits the bedroom with a quick, hard look back, decides better than saying anything to her and gently closes the door behind him. So, yeah. Wow.
So remember, nothing has happened yet in the world to put, one's predictive model off kilter. So you would never assume this lady's infected by some alien spores. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just start to narrate, she's too drunk. She's got a stomach flu. Like, you're just going to make up some shit. You're just going to make up as many things that you need to just get the fuck out of that room and go back to your life. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. The reality is shit will happen in the moment. intoxicated people do intoxicated people things, and all this kind of crazy shit happens, and then justification after the fact, and you're gonna, because you can't get to the truth.
Yeah.
So once you get to the truth layer, now you're updating your weights. Now you're actually changing your predictive model, so the next time it's going to give you a new prediction. But as long as you hide it, and I don't mean hide consciously, people don't know this is happening, but as long as you narrate that you figured out what you're going to do next, and you did that thing consciously because you wanted to, it's very hard to update.
Yeah. Mm.
But imagine nothing's really out of the ordinary enough to cause, because what's going to happen is people are going to start updating their model about who is trustworthy and who is not. Because once you start realizing the people like that are doing this, they're deadly to you. Like you would catch on real quick. You see what I'm getting at? Like trust would break down. People would become fearful. You're not going to necessarily help your neighbor because you don't know, are they infected? This goes to the conspiracy and the paranoia that zombie movies give you. Is, are you bit? Like, are you going to be, because that's how everybody gets destroyed, is you have a group inside a safe area. One of those people turns.
Yeah.
And once they start biting, now everybody's going to turn. And so it's like an all or nothing proposition. This is really important. It goes back to what you were saying. I've not realized this before, but this never and always. It's a very crystalline version of never and always, because you either have no zombies inside your wall or everybody's going to be a zombie at some point inside your wall. You don't get a middle ground.
Yeah. Wow.
I like that angle. I've never considered that as a conscious thing. I'm definitely going to work that in. I think that's a powerful concept to really embed at a thematic level. I should go back and put that on the theme of always and never.
Yeah.
Like these concepts we never embrace.
Yeah.
Never. Did you see I just did that?
Yeah.
I literally just
right.
did that. I figured these concepts we never embrace. Holy shit.
It's kind of a fun thing
so
to like be, trying to like be hyper aware of that tendency, right? To say always and never, and really kind of think like,
it is.
Really though?
It's just instantly ironic though. I love that shit. I love that shit. But the reality is we're often not placed into a position where we have to choose, do I go left or go right around this tree? Like we can just happily be in a superposition at all times. And there's very little reality that forces you to collapse the waveform, if you get my drift.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. Nice tie-in to 2-3 episodes ago or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It is that thing though, I think is the point of the theme, meaning we should shine a light metaphorically on the theme of it's hardly ever always or never, but every once in a while it is. I mean, it's just a tension there. It's always to these tension of two poles, right? We're always looking at these things as like a dichotomy of the power of trust and the vulnerability of trust, right? You cannot get away from the reality of these things. And that's what I'm trying to get to.
Nice. Cool. Well, that wraps up the writings on the main Pumpkinheads page on your website. So
let me jump in because I think I want to throw something in there. I must have edited it out. I was expecting it. The concept of this choice of the twins, I think this is a pivotal moment of and if you want, I think there's more stuff on my Reddit page about this that I must have edited out that I don't think I included, but there's a little bit more narration of some of these scenes. Specifically, what I can envision at this point is the two twins are essentially up a tree. So imagine there's a full-blown pumpkin head, so not the deceptive one, but the angry ones that are running after you. And let's say one of them chases the two girls up a tree. And so the two girls are on a limb above this thing, and they're trying to figure out, what do I do next? What do we do next? And unfortunately, the one pumpkin head, acting up causes other pumpkin heads to realize what's happening, and a whole mob of them starts coming towards the tree. And in about 3 seconds, the smart twin realizes As soon as that mob gets here, neither of us will ever get down from this tree ever again. Not to live. I mean, we're done for. As soon as like you have 50, 100 of these things around the base of the tree, we're done. And so she realizes the only hope would be for one of the two to lead the pack away. As soon as the pack gets there, neither of them will ever escape. But there's not enough time to hatch a plan or say, should you do it or should I do it? It's literally like the Trinity and Neo scene with Morpheus on the helicopter, where you have to simultaneously solve this equation. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it turns out it's just the way it is. It's not a fortunate or unfortunate, but the smart twin gets there first, and she realizes one of the two is going to have to do this. And she realizes the other one is not going to come to this conclusion. Yeah. She's too scared, and they're panicking. So she drops to the ground, meaning the smart twin, and draws the one away, and then goes after, lets the pack see her, and then draws them all away. And then the theory was she jumps off a cliff, and they all jump off after her. And so she kills like a mob of 50 of them by sacrificing herself.
Yeah. Right. And then potential cliffhanger type of maybe
you never know.
like don't show the body, maybe is what you do, right?
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. No, it gets fishy though. It gets fishy in that each character is going to die in sequence, and their point of view moment. So really, what I want to get into is the concept of the plot device of the POV moment. Right. So we're doing this iteration thing where we're recycling, and then we do it from a different facet or point of view. So we're recycling the same story, but we're looking at different facets. But at the end of each character's story, you will be immersed as like a camera eye view. So like when you're watching a movie and like you see the character, and then when you're watching the movie and it feels like you're in the character's eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the guy turns his head, he looks down, and you see the guy's legs. It's like I'm looking through his eyes. So what I'm saying is that POV moment is literally the moment of looking through that character's eyes for like the last minute or so of the show. And what's going to happen is when this POV moment hits, it gets really surreal. It goes into the camera eye view of the person, and then the music comes up. So this will be like the last minute of each episode.
Yeah.
And what I envision is the song, and these are all 90s songs, will come up in that moment, and it'll start being like almost like a surreal montage as opposed to the reality of the thing. And then that character meets their demise, and then it plays to black, and then the credits come up, and the song still plays. So it's like the fade out of the song. I don't know if you know that feeling of when an episode ends on a song.
Yes, totally, totally.
So every episode, John, every fucking episode. But here's the deal. So let me give you an example that's really crystalline, which is the youngest child. So the youngest child is in a closet with his mom holding him in like dark and under, there's coats and pants and everything on the hangers, and you're in this closet, and there's like sounds of wild animals scratching at the door trying to get at you. And it's the Pumpkinheads. And but when you go into the boy's Pumpkinhead moment, he doesn't see behind himself. So his Pumpkinhead moment will just be like looking at shoes and being in the corner of this dark closet, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And you won't know why. Because when you're literally that boy's point of view, think about it this way. When you find out what actually happened, and you contrast the terror of the dad being, essentially obliterated in front of everybody at the party in the very first scene with the crazy Pumpkinhead attack, to the non-suffering of just disappearing of the boy, you will sympathize with the mom and say, I understand.
Yeah, right.
Like it will be so peaceful to see the boy. So the boy who gets killed by his mother has the most peaceful death out of any of them. It just disappears.
Yeah.
The mom is the one who finds the gun in the closet and doesn't tell him anything because she obviously loves him, doesn't want to scare him. They're already terrified.
Yeah.
She's putting him to peace. It's almost like euthanizing a dog or something. And I don't mean that flippantly, but it's the gift of not making this animal suffer, this thing suffer, an unavoidable thing. Like you can avoid it. not that you can avoid the thing, but you can avoid suffering about the thing. So the death is going to come no matter what for your dog that's about to die. It's a gift to euthanize the dog and not let them die a natural death, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting
Yeah.
at? So in the face of having you and your child, destroyed by these pumpkin head creatures, or, even worse, infected, and then you're going to become a monster yourself. She does this thing where she kills the boy, and you don't know until the next episode.
Yeah.
And then, like, within a second after that, the scratching stops. All the pumpkin heads all the pumpkin heads get taken away. You don't know this because she's inside the closet, but it's her older son and the other twin coming to save them.
I forgot about
And
that
so,
level or that detail. Oof.
So what happens is the mom gets rescued right at the last second. So if she would not have killed her kid, she didn't know this.
Yeah.
The Pumpkinheads would have been annihilated on their behalf, and they would have both been rescued, and it would have been a happy kind of thing. But instead, what happens is the older son and the popular daughter rescue. They incapacitate. They kill the Pumpkinheads, and they rescue the mom and what they thought would be the little boy. And the mom is so fucked up in the head from what has just happened that she does not die from Pumpkinhead. She kills herself in her episode. So,
and it's sometime like how much time do you think goes by between the mom being rescued and when she just can't deal with it anymore and offs herself?
It's that day. It's probably within an hour or something like that. It's so at the end of her episode will only advance like an hour more than her baby child.
Yeah.
So like the next episode, the whole thing's going to happen, but you're only going to add another maybe hour or an hour and a half to the story because all this stuff only takes place in like 2 days.
Right.
Like all this is so fast. So this lady essentially gets rescued. She's so stressed. Her trauma is so severe because she thought she was about to die, and she kills her child. And she gets rescued and she realizes her other kids are alive that thought they were dead. And she finds out one of her other daughters is dead. I mean, it's just too much.
Yeah.
She literally just has a breakdown.
Wow.
And she can't take it. And she uses the gun to kill herself. Yeah. So that's her. But she does it. So she knows it's coming. So it's coming on her point of view. She can't surprise herself with her suicide.
Heavy.
but unfortunately you will get to see in the very next episode the mom's trauma of that moment in the closet. You get to the reveal is like what has happened now. Yeah. Woof. That's going to be the hardest one, man. That really distressed me when this came to me. Like this was the way she goes out. It really distressed me. But the way I figure this happened, meaning internal to me, is I had this idea came to me, I should say, of this scenario at the beginning, and I could just model each character so well. I could play out what happens for each of them based on like who they are intrinsically. And so I could see this poor lady being like soft-hearted, strong, resilient, but, a big softie. And what would you do like if you're in that moment and you're having to fight? Anyway,
wow.
It's a terrible scene. I think is probably the worst scene in the entire thing as far as trauma. But the whole point is mercy is just it's a construct, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing guaranteeing that you won't become victim to some parasite, and that's just the way nature works, and your life will just turn to shit, and you're going to become like the feast for. I'm like, there's a wasp that stings a cockroach or something and like plants an egg in it, and then it buries the cockroach alive, and then the egg hatches and eats the cockroach alive. You know what I mean? Like, there's crazy shit. It's fucking crazy fucking shit out there.
Yeah.
That's beyond terrifying. I mean, so I don't know what a cockroach experience is. I assume not much, but
yeah. Wow.
I mean, I think it literally like clips its little antennae and stuff. Like it clips the antennae and it paralyzes it so it can't move. Stacy just told me about this. Like it stings it in a certain place that makes it groom itself. Like the little cockroach grooms itself incessantly. And then it puts it in this underground burrow and lays a single egg on. Anyway, it's all
Yeah,
bullshit. But
no, we just went to like a bugs thing at the Denver Natural History Museum, like a bugs exhibit thing, and I'm sure it's the exact same thing you're talking about. We saw a little small display of it. And yeah, it's just
I think it's like a jewel wasp or something like that is what it's called. I can't
sounds kind of
remember,
familiar.
but
Yeah, gnarly.
yeah. Uh, I'm trying to think of other points. So the ending points, you must know this. I must have written it down at some point. The concept of having the older son, bait himself to a pole and have all the pumpkin heads come after him, and then they've encircled a giant field, so to speak, with the rope
Yeah,
and tied to the back of the truck, and the girl's able to drive the truck and pulls it, and essentially kills all the pumpkin heads simultaneously, and their heads pop off.
yeah. I can't remember if it's written that way, but I know we talked about it probably in maybe the first episode even of this. Must have been.
Maybe so. I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so the girl is, she's driving the truck, and the thing's attached to the back of the truck, and she can drive the truck off the cliff, and this thing pulls tight. Anyway, it should be a visually dramatic scene, I think.
yeah.
Trying to think.
I was
I guess the next thing would be. Sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna ask, like, because you mentioned the songs and stuff. Do you have this like any particular songs in mind for any?
Yeah, I had a couple. I'm trying to remember. I thought I wrote them down. I want to say one of them is Blues Traveler, Defense and
Hmm,
Desire.
I don't know if I know that song, but
Uh, Dude,
for
you're gonna
for
love
for a
it.
particular character though.
Yes. I think so. I think it's in the beginning. I think it might be Dad's. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. There's there's this interesting part about you have to listen to the song, but it's like whiskey hit me fast. It's kind of like a party,
Mm.
not a party. It's this really creepy song though. Honestly, it's a very creepy song.
Huh.
It's one of my favorite Blues Traveler songs, but it's a very creepy song. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like a foreboding, like there's an attraction, but it's dangerous. I don't know how else to explain it. I was thinking of like essentially a bunch of grungy stuff. I was thinking it's probably Soundgarden, probably a fucking Pearl Jam
Yeah,
song.
because you
Like,
said
just
Soundgarden.
I
Like,
don't know
I
what.
don't. Do you know the song Fourth of July on the Supernatural album? I mean, it seems
Not by
like
that
it
name.
seems like too perfect. I don't know if I mean, I
I'll have
can't.
to go listen to it now. You're freaking me
I
out.
know I
There's a
can't quite remember the like subject matter of the song, lyrical, like content. I don't,
Okay.
but it's called Fourth of July, and it's very kind of
That's
like
very
droning.
interesting.
Like I could see that being
Interesting.
like the way you described like the song playing through the credits and all of that. Um,
Yes.
very like it might be spot on for a particular mood. I'm not sure which character necessarily, but yeah, I would encourage you to check that song out, and I'd love to know what you think if it fits anything, and if it doesn't, that's
I
cool.
will
But I'm
definitely
like,
do that.
when you said '90s and grunge, and I was
No,
trying to think like, yeah, that might be fun just to try to think through some songs, and it was just like, boom, Fourth of July,
and I
Soundgarden,
don't think it all. I don't think it has to be all grunge. It's just kind of my
yeah,
experience. Like it could be Metallica, or it could be
yeah,
something. I don't know, something different. I don't know, something totally. But '90s,
yeah,
I think
sure, sure,
it's got to be a time
yes,
period kind of a
yeah, for
thing.
sure.
Um, but the music is supposed to be maybe like a Toady song,
Oh
like
yeah,
what was that song? I do know what I'm talking about now. It is oh fuck me, it's such a great
it's
song. It is
is it their big hit?
Possum
Yeah, yeah.
Kingdom. Possum Kingdom. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Trying to remember. Anyway, yeah, it's like a couple songs. You'll know them all. But like maybe an Alice in Chains
Oh
song. I don't
yeah,
know, like
yeah.
fucking Rooster,
Oh
something like
yeah,
that. I don't know,
wow.
man.
That could
Or
be the dad song, maybe. I mean,
Man in a Box,
yeah,
maybe Man in a
wow.
Box or something. I mean, some crazy
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
dude. I don't know. Like, there's something like that, dun dun dun, like the fucking jam,
yeah.
dude. Like, you're gonna feel it. Is what I'm getting at. I'm going after a feeling
Yes.
of you. You get sucked into the eyesight. Like, it stops being like camera A, camera B, and then a two shot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It starts being something different. And back to the thing what you're talking about, or we talked about mutually, VR, dude. If I could fucking suck you into this a VR mode where in that last 60 seconds, like I could see it being VR where it's like a movie for the whole time until the very end, and then at that last second you get to look around. So the whole thing is like 360 model,
Yeah.
so that when you're actually in the VR scene, like the POV scene, and like they're attacking you, you could actually turn your head to the right and see what it looks
Yeah.
like, and someone else would turn their head to the
Yeah.
left and see what that
That
looks
would be
like.
kick-ass. That's new.
But you can't change
Yeah,
it.
yeah, sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like you can't change what happens, but you get to look around, you get to look up, and you see like the blood splatter on the ceiling, and you get to look down and you see like, you know, the pumpkin head creature's head explode or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just fucking crazy
Yeah.
shit. But I really want to viscerally grab people with traumatic events that you cannot like wishy-wash away. It is just so like so crazy fucking just like, did that just happen? Is that real? Is that like I like the unsettling nature of having to reset everybody's point of view. Like everybody's thing is now the shift is on, the ground is not level. We have to figure out what's going on. I think that's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
Something happened. It's like so traumatic. You're just like picking yourself off the ground. You don't even know what just happened. It's like a shockwave hits you, and like your head is ringing. You know what I mean? Like you have that moment, like in Avatar, when the bomb goes off, and like right, you know what I'm talking about, and they're like trying to get away, and like they're bombing the main tree, and like your ears are ringing. And you don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
Like there's ash in the air and like fire and shit, like crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's like when it's like a symbolic thing of, hey man, get rid of all the old shit you thought was real. Everything you thought you knew,
right.
get rid of it. It's time to grab something new and find a new path forward or something like that. That's kind of the concept.
Yeah. Wow. I love it, man. Well, I'm sure this won't be.
I love that you love it.
Yeah, I'm sure this won't be the last episode. I like this idea that like a recurring kind of theme to come back to. You know, talking about this like in the podcast form, you know. So, yeah, dude. I think we're probably around.
Save the cat.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, next thing would be like to do a save the cat at some point. And you know, here's another thing real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Is when I first started this, the one thing I was looking for collaboratively was someone to storyboard, because I could see everything in my mind, but I couldn't storyboard anything. And now AI is so easy to storyboard.
Right. Yep.
I could easily prompt my way into creating these characters and easily get, you know, the dozen shots that make up, you know, a storyboard of a scene or whatever. Dude, you know how fucking easy that would be?
Yeah.
It was so easy.
I mean, and you know, to be fair, I mean, it's still there's I think the conversations are still, you know, happening in the debate about like if it's a good or bad thing. I mean, my experience, and because this comes up with work and stuff. There still is a skill. There still is like an art, a technique of, you know, honing the ability to prompt well. You know, it's as easy as, you know, I'm not disagreeing with you how you're describing it as easy. It is, but it's garbage in, garbage out. You know, like you can't just say like, you know, build me a storyboard for XYZ and have, you know, just the one or two sentences. Like the better your prompt, the better the output, you know? And so there really is, I mean, there's actual classes people are, you know, training and educating like how to be a better prompt engineer. You know, that's where I see like things happening is there, you know, maybe the skill set kind of switches from, or not switches, but there's a new skill set. So, you know, a traditional storyboard artist can still do their thing. And now there's this new skill that it's more about the words, you know, and letting the AI
I
do the
think that's
art, but like, do actually the actual
I think that's
pictures.
totally
Yeah.
fair. I think it's totally fair, but here's how I see it. I see it like, do you remember the movie Wall Street?
I don't know if I've ever seen it, but I know you're it's not Michael. Yeah, Michael Douglas.
Douglas.
Yes. And
Yeah. So at the end of the thing, or at some point, I think it's at the end, you see him on the beach, and he's got this cell phone, and it's the big brick cell
yeah,
phone, and it's like, like a backpack cell phone or
yeah,
something like that. But he's on the beach, and how fucking baller! Like, this is a $20,000 phone
yeah,
or something. It's like a suitcase on his back, and he's got this little handset, but he's on the fucking beach, dude.
yeah,
And what I'm saying is, when I thought about this 7 years ago or whatever, if I were to try to chicken scratch my garbage drawing ability or whatever to make anything like this, it would have been embarrassingly bad. Like a bad child would have made this. And I'm saying right now, the evolution is I've got a cell phone in my pocket
I
now.
know.
Like so I don't disagree. You are 100% correct. The elevation allows for even more stratification, but I'm saying the elevation for the low level of us now gives me something that I can show to somebody. Because here's my deal, brother. I've pitched this idea to many people, and nobody's ever stuck through it like you've stuck through it to see
That's
it.
it.
So it's so much harder to try to explain the whole thing through hours of conversation.
Right.
Whereas if I would have even a simplistic storyboard, not a good one, not a perfect one, not a beautiful one, not a professional one, but even a simplistic one, I could probably do a presentation on an average person in like 30 minutes, the whole story, if it had something like that. And all I'm saying is I see that as the next iteration. It would hopefully then trigger, downstream an episode where we would have a product to show somebody that's even better than us. Or so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what comes next. I'm just saying, like, I could see it in my head, and to have something like AI, create these images, bad as they may be. Look at the ones I put on. Look at the original like thumbnails on the post that I did on my website.
Yeah, those were
Like
all, what
that's
was it, like Dolly or something, or
yeah, like original version,
yeah,
dude. Like Hugging Face style. You know what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about? Like it's like before you could even have a normal face, like the original shit. I was like, oh, cool. I could put in Crazy Pumpkinhead scaring people running down the street or something and see
right.
what happens. Um, so I'm just saying, I think there's a lot more opportunity now with tech to bring this thing to some kind of fruition, such that it doesn't have to be live action or real. It could be a video game. It could be a cartoon.
Yeah,
It could be a graphic novel or something like that. And I don't think we're that far away from. I mean, if the idea is roughly there, finding some kind of way to make a symbolic version of it that's like a simple abstraction of the
yeah,
idea. I guess that's my thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Something simple that could even be like on TikTok or something on social media that could be
mm,
sent out and like maybe get viral or something. Like that's, something that could even start like a Kickstarter or something,
yeah,
because you'd want a storyboard for that.
right.
So I'm getting to the level of, look, I have a great idea. I think it's a compelling story. I love the tie-ins with all this,
Right.
consciousness and other stuff. But if nobody ever sees it, it's just going to die. It's going to die a lonely
Yeah.
death. So I don't know. At some point, I got to either do something with it. I mean, it doesn't hurt me. I love thinking about it. I love imagining it. So I'm happy with it there. But I would like to make it into something.
Yeah, I would love to help. So, thank you for sharing it with me because yeah, I think there's something there. So,
That makes me feel so good, man. Nobody's ever said that, by the way. Nobody's ever considered it, other than Stacy. Stacy's put time and effort into listening and thinking about it and contributing. But it makes me feel like, you know, how can I say this? Less delusional. Because like sometimes you feel like you put so much time and effort into these fantasies, these daydreams. It's like literally just a daydream that got super
yeah,
real. And it was literally just something that came to me as I was pushing kids in strollers, very sleep
yeah,
deprived, just like that kind of crazy stuff. But it was also, I think, now looking back on it, some kind of manifestation of my subconsciousness trying to explore my darkness and my depth. And you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, you know?
That's usually where like the best, I think, art comes from, you know, when there is some tie into like, you know, personal um experience or thoughts or just, you know, seems to be that way anyway, you know.
I agree.
So,
It's work. It's like therapy.
yeah, exactly. Well, sweet. All right. Well, so yeah, like I think we can wrap this one up, and just for schedule wise, yeah, I'll be out of town for the next 2 Sundays. I think in that, you know, I'll start kind of researching some options for like Libsyn or whatever, you know, a user friendly like podcast. Uh, I don't want to say app, but like podcast maker type of thing that would be easier than what I've done previously, which wasn't too hard, but I'm kind of curious if there's something better, easier. And so hopefully the next episode will be like in, you know, Spotify, Apple Podcast kind of format. That would be cool. I
That'd be so
yeah,
cool.
I know we're really excited about talking about Contact. Tucker's on board for that, so that'll, you know, at least 2 episodes, maybe 3 episodes. Like, so that's going to be awesome. But yeah, so but yeah, for now, I think we're all good. So thank you again for sharing this with me. Thanks for taking the time to go through it. Super fun and entertaining for me. So
I've had a blast. It feels, like I said, like brand new again, just to talk about it. Like the words seem fresh. I love putting something down and then picking it back up, you know, maybe weeks or months or years later, and looking at it
right.
again. I think that's literally iterate and
Yep.
curate back to our foundation. Is this thing is how it works, and I love that you love it. I mean, there's something about the bond that we have at the ideal level of it's beauty, man. It's like you and I can see beauty, we see patterns. I think we just love playing around with ideas. It's just such a beautiful thing,
Yep.
John. And it's if I don't have, I mean, even if I thought of this years and years ago, like if nobody's there to talk to about it with, it just dies. It just like withers away and dies. So having someone to play catch with, like you just can't play catch with yourself. There's no
Yeah.
point. Like there's no matter how good the idea is, at some point you're just playing catch with yourself, and you realize like I'm just throwing the ball to myself. It's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. So thank you for playing
You're
catch with me,
welcome.
man. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
Hell
Cheers
yeah.
to that. We'll chat next time then.
All right. Talk to you
Bye.
later, John.
Cool.